A very warm welcome to another exciting, another empowering, equipping, and upskilling session or show of the Empowerment Podcast. My name is Thabiso Mthembu, and today I am not alone. I'm not alone. I have my guest. Of whom I'm just going to also give him an opportunity to introduce himself to the show. So this is another exciting show. Greetings to all our audience in Africa. Greetings to our audience even overseas. Throughout the continent, I welcome you all to another exciting show. I promise you won't regret listening to this episode. So today I have my lovely guest by the name of Dr. Brian Makhathini. So Mr. Makhathini and I today we're just going to be unpacking the topic, which is the influence of the past on present behavior. So we are going to be talking and unpacking that topic with you today. Dr. Makhathini, would you just to introduce yourself? A very warm welcome to you as well to the show.
Thank you, Thabiso, for an opportunity. Also, thanking the Empowerment Podcast for giving me this opportunity, and also greeting you and the listeners at home. Then that is me. My name is Khayelihle Makhathini. Some they know me by KB Makhathini. Yes, it's a pleasure to be the part and also to come and contribute on my 2 cents on mental health.
All right. Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Makhathini. Is it fine if we on the show if we call you by Dr. KP as you mentioned? Others know you as KP.
Anything that you are welcome to call me with either my name or whatever or my initials. It's fine. I don't have a problem.
All right, perfect. So that was Dr. Brian Makhathini, whom we have on the show today. So the topic we are talking about today, just to introduce the topic, is the influence of the past on present behavior. So we will be unpacking that just on a broader aspect. We're looking at the fact that there are some past experiences which may also affect one's present functioning in their lives. So we are just going to be going into deep with Dr. Makhathini on that. But before we get into our topic as I have introduced today, so now so Dr. Makhathini, I was just looking, I'm reading and just thinking to myself while I was listening to a recent study that was shared by another academic on one of the TV shows. So he was sharing one of the stats that one of his researches regarding mental health issue, or especially in South Africa. And it was quite shocking to find out in South Africa 30% of people they do report long life psychiatric disorders. And then in his research he also mentioned that while there are 30% of people who suffer from psychiatric disorders, there is also 1 in 3 people that will be affected by mental illness in their lifetime. And then he also went on to even make an example to say 1 in 6 South Africans do suffer from either mental illness issues, such as, for example, the common ones he mentioned on his research was anxiety, depression, or even substance use problem, which do in a later form affect one's behavioral functioning on their present life. So I was so shocked, Dr. Makhathini, because to me, while I was listening to his proposal and his research, I was so shocked to the fact that in our context, in our South African context, so it means that there's still a big gap in terms of bringing an awareness or bringing about education to people to know about what is actually mental health.
Yes.
So because normally when people listen to the word mental health, they normally think of other things. They normally think of being crazy, or you are gonna be being crazy, or maybe you're picking stuff from the bin, or either you need to be in a psychiatric institution. So that's the only concept, that's the only thing that arises from their mind, when you talk about mental health. So now for me, it raised the question now to say, are we as a nation, or I'm not going to put it to government, but I'm just going to put it to a broader form to everyone. Are we as a nation, have done enough in order to educate people as to say what is actually mental health? When you talk about mental health, you're not talking about going crazy, going to an institution, but mental health, such as your physical well-being, is important. Also is your mental health is also important as well. So can you just share with us maybe more, just a brief overview to also our audience, just to bring about an awareness to say what is actually mental health? What are we talking about when we're talking about taking care of your mental health?
Yes, yeah, you have touched quite deep on that when it comes to the statistics of in South Africa, most like when you're looking in South Africa, regardless that worldwide, mental health it's been taking place like in a devastating way. Therefore, for me, mental health, I define mental health as a state of brain functionality, which is influenced by the internal dialogue and the surrounding environment and the life experiences. Therefore, what is surrounding us, what we think about every day, and also what is been happening in our life, it contributes to our brain functionality. Because our brain, if we are in an environment that we cannot able to strive, therefore it's going to be affected.
Yes.
Therefore, it depends on the environment that we are in. If the environment is good for you, then if the environment is positive, it means that you are going to have a positive brain functionality. But also, if your environment is you're surrounded by the negativity, there's a lot of things that are happening in your life, then automatically even the way the processes of thinking, then they get affected because of the things that you are facing that moment. And it's not just only affecting the brain functionality, because the brain functionality, we can have three characteristics from it. We can have cognition, we can have perception, we can have behavior, which is most of the time we normally see behavior and we normally see the way the person is behaving. Sometimes you can hear people talking about someone saying that, oh, that one is having a negative attitude, or that one is having a good attitude, Therefore, these three characteristics are the byproduct of what we've been taking every day. If we are talking about internal dialogue, these three characteristics are the byproduct of what is surrounding us and also the life experiences. Then when we're talking about cognition, it's where we are referring to all the cognitive processes that are involved in terms of learning, in terms of remembering, in terms of accumulating knowledge. Therefore, you will see people that are coming from in the background or in the areas where there is not much of technology, then those people will be deprived into to understand things that are happening in technology, or learning new things, or experiencing some other things. Therefore, cognition, that is where it's happening. Whatever thing that you think about, whatever thing that is around you, it's going to affect your cognition, because it means your cognition, your learning, your remembering, your memory, all of those kind of things. If you have experienced some difficulties in life, or being hurt or rejection in life, that thing is going to formulate a certain part in your brain functionality, and then the way you'll be perceiving those things or understanding those things, it's going to be affected because you've been rejected before, or you've been going through some issues in your life that are not resolved. Therefore, automatically your perception, it's going to be affected. Sometimes you meet people that are very negative in life or are very negative about life. It's not because those people, they just woke up and become negative. It's because of the experiences that they have came across, and then now it's affecting the perception, the way they think. And then after that, we will just see the behavior of people, how people they conduct themselves. For me, behavior, it's a final product of the internal dialogue, life experiences, and the surrounding environments. And then those things, then they produce behavior. Then you start to know of someone that, oh, that person is very humble, or that person he have a good listening skill, or that person have a good that. Therefore, for me, all in all, defining mental health, I define like that. I define as a state of your brain functionality.
Brain functionality. Absolutely, Dr. Makhathini. And you also touched on a very important subject as well. With regards to what we normally see, or when we normally observe one's behavior. We tend to shy away from what you just mentioned, which is that behavior comes from the internal dialogue that you just mentioned as well. So I'm just looking into those internal dialogue, because having those, having an internal dialogue can also cause one to even have, what we call an internal conflict. There are people. There are people. You can speak with someone. For example, we can be talking like this, but only to find that we are talking, but at the same time there is some internal dialogue. There is something happening inside of me that one cannot be able to see and tell to actually what is going on. And that internal dialogue, as you mentioned, it can be also negative. It can be also positive. Then what we see on the behavioral, it also comes from the root is the internal dialogue. So now, how can then one be able to have a positive internal dialogue on a daily basis? Because you also touch on a very important topic, Mr. Makhathini, as you mentioned, that it's also caused by our daily life experiences. Then how can we then instill this thing to someone to say, now how can you maintain a daily positive internal dialogue to make sure that whatever behavioral or pattern, whatever that you see on the outside, is actually a good behavior, positive behavior for the community, for the society, and also for the person himself?
True. It's a kind of a difficult question, but to answer your question, most of the time of the things that we are today, and moreover to us as youth, then you find that most of the time your internal dialogue was built the time you were still growing up, the time you were still a kid. The environment that you grow up, it play a crucial role in formulating the person you are today. That means that, as I've touched on the life experiences, that the most of the life experiences that sometimes now we are finding ourselves in, or what we are facing at the moment, is not just it's something that started now. The way we approach life now when you are old, it depends how you were raised the time you were growing up as a kid. Therefore, that's where it starts. However, one of the nice things about the brain is that the brain, it changes. We can apply the change. There's something that we call habits. Habits are in the form, we can have a good habit, we can have a bad habits. For example, bad habits, a person that's starting smoking. If you can go to everyone that today is smoking and ask them how they started it, they will tell you that they didn't even finish the first or during their first time they didn't even finish the full cigarette. But Sometimes it can happen that one day time they were just pulling that thing or that cigarette, and then they cough and then they throw it away and whatsoever. But because of people that were around them, they encourage them. No,
the environment.
Yes, the environment. That means you can't do this, you can't do this, man, you can't do this, man. And then the person will go back and do it again. Now, we know that in psychology that it takes about 21 days to formulate habits.
Yes.
Then now, in that 21 days, it means that your brain functionality or your brain processing, it changes so that it can accommodate whatever thing that you are doing that time. Why I'm putting this example is because it's a clear example. It's something that most of people,
absolutely,
they went through it. But after 21 days, now it's going to become what? It's going to become sort of a kind of a lifestyle. Once you finish 40 days, that means now it's becoming the part of your life. Once you finish 60 days, 90 days, then it's becoming your lifestyle. Now it's very hard to come out of it because you've been doing this thing. You know, it started as a habit, but now it became what? It became your lifestyle. It's same things apply even when we want to develop a positive attitude. Firstly, the surrounding is very important. Who are your friends that you spend time with? Are those people negative? Are those people positive? Because if those people are negative, automatically you are going to be negative. Therefore,
absolutely,
you know, if you, for example, if you want to start a business, you can't keep hanging around with people that doesn't have businesses. You need to hang around with people that have business so that they can plant this seed in your brain. And then when you are sleeping, then the brain will be starting processing that, you know, what can I do? What can be? What can I start for my business? Therefore, you associate yourself with people first that are in that zone that you want to be, and then try to drift away from people that are not in the zone that you don't like. That's how we get this positivity. Again, reading is also very important. Then what type of books are you reading? I can't say that I want to start a business, but I'm not reading the business books. You know, I'm not saying that go and read business economics books, but I am saying that yeah, but I am saying like people that you know that they've been in the chain of business and they've written certain books. You know, you associate yourself with where you want to see yourself.
It's the same thing as the saying that says the birds of the same flock, they fly together. So you need to move within the space that you or you need to move with the people that you also share the same common goal with as well. No, so definitely. So yes, this is the empowerment podcast, and the topic we are unpacking today is the influence of the past on the influence of the past on present behavior. As Dr. Makhathini has just mentioned, that is the process of learning, unlearning, and also unlearning. So now what we are saying now, taking care of your mental health also means that you have to also keep an eye out or be eye open in terms of what kinds of habits do you bring, do you indulge in, and also what kind of people that you do surround yourself with, because all of these aspects, they do play a major role in one's mental health, as Dr. Makhathini has mentioned. Now, Dr. Makhathini, another person might say that, you know, hey, Mina, on my side, the only thing I know about mental health is craziness.
Mm.
That's because of it's not only just because of education now, because they're not aware, but it's just a misconception that is in their mind, that they are just holding on, maybe from an early childhood, or from maybe from the influence of social media, or maybe even from the surroundings. Even if the environment is not a conducive environment that promotes, a good mental well-being, then people are most likely not to know about mental health, or most likely to have their own myths or misconception. So now this brings me to all these myths that are there when it comes to misconception, because these myths and misconception, you will find that, Dr. Makhathini, one might have a mental health issue, for example, a depression, or suffer from anxiety, because of these barriers, because of these walls that have been created by the environment that they are in, or the society, or sometimes even the community as well. So they will be afraid to come out and say, no, I actually do have a mental health problem. I am suffering from depression. But now you will find that in the community, maybe they have a different word for that. It's something that they laugh about. It's something that is seen as if there's something wrong with you. So now, can we just unpack then some of these common myths, so that we can help someone who's listening to understand those myths are absolutely not true. This is what is true regarding mental health.
Yeah, we have a lot of myth or misconception about mental health. Moreover, to Black community, when you look at in terms of one of the myth is that we don't have such kind of thing, depression or stress. Those things are for white people,
the Western countries.
Yes, it's for those kind of people. It's not for us, which is depression has been there for a long time. It's just that sometimes people, they tend to end up having a certain coping mechanism, because when you're looking at mental health, most of the time, in order to come out of a certain situation or certain disorder of mental health, you need to create a certain a coping mechanism. The mechanism such as the myth such as men don't cry. You are not allowed as a man in the Black community to do what, to be vulnerable. We talk about in terms of women that are saying that you must be a superwoman, you must be strong. All of those misconception, it end up misleading people. They end up people sitting there in their corner and not
actually coming out.
Yes, and not voicing out their issues. Again, when you look at in terms of that other myth, in terms of that, Black people, they don't commit suicide, but when you look at how many people are killing themselves, secondly, when you voicing out about your mental health problem, then they will be saying that, oh no, man, you are weak. And those are the misconception which is and has led people that are suffering with mental health not to voice it out. Because why? Because when I'm voicing it out, then people, they'll start saying that, oh no, man, I don't want to be regarded as a weak person in the community or in my family or in around my friends. And again, one of the issues is that as friends, we can sit together and laugh together, drink together, and do all of these funny things, but nobody really can come to you and ask you, are you really okay? Those are the things that I have seen it that has happened, and then you see people committing suicide. And again, when it comes to mental health, we will see the mental health voices rising once someone that once of a celebrity or someone that is have a big name in our society or in our community has committed suicide. Then after that, that's where we'll start to talk about mental health. But once that thing goes down, then after that we keep quiet again. It's not something in terms when it comes to the awareness. It's not been something that it's been occurring, or people, all the social media is buzzing with mental health, and also the where people they can get help and all of those things like that. It's just that we are just sitting in your corner, and then you are crying in your corner. Then when you come out of your room, then you wear a smiley face, and then as if everything is good. Lastly, one of the myths most of the time, this one it's mostly on teenagers. There are a lot of teenagers that have been affected mentally. Even when you look at it in terms of the statistics are very alarming when it comes to teenagers. And the one that are entering in the adolescent stage, they will say that, we normally say that is having a moods. Today that one is very moody today. Don't talk to her or don't talk to him, but we really not know what is going on with the kid. Yeah, as we were chatting about the myth, but one of the myths which is, I think, is affecting a lot in terms of the teenagers when they are entering in the adolescent stage, then we talk about in terms of that when we normally say that they are moody, and they, like most of the time, which is sometimes we really do not know what kids is going through, what a child is going through. Instead of having patience with the child, and also be getting closer to the child so that we can get to know what is happening. And when you look at the statistics of children and adolescents in South Africa, it's very alarming, because we can see that there are a lot of them, they are facing a lot of gender violence. Most of them, they are coming from in terms of home, in terms of poverty, and also malnutrition. You find that they don't have much food, also good things as children, because as children they always think, when everything that they see on social media, they also think that they can live that kind of life. Therefore, there's a lot of things. Talk about gender-based violence. We're talking about in terms of high level of racial inequalities, the gender inequalities, and all of those kind of things like that. Therefore, when you look at the statistics in South Africa, it's very alarming for children that are coming from that kind of a background. And because at home nobody is even aware of those kind of things, because when children are at school, therefore they communicate differently at school. As a parent, we are not there at school. Then the child, when it's come back home, that is getting no support. Therefore, those are the things that the misconception sometimes parents have on their children, beside the other myths that we have already chatted about in terms of being a superwoman, or men do not cry. Also, if you are showing some vulnerability as a man, it's considered as you are a weak man or you are a weak woman. All of those kind of things that are like that, then are the things that we are seeing in our communities, which is it end up making people not want to voice out their feelings, not want to voice out how they feel about whatever situation that they are in at that moment.
And we've touched on a lot of important myths and misconceptions that people do hold, regarding regarding mental health. And one of the things you just also you all mentioned, you're talking about, most people, because of these walls, because of these barriers that are there within the societies, or maybe even in the community regarding mental health, then they tend to be shy to actually come out and voice out. So you also mentioned that, so most people they tend to cry in their corner and then come and then put in a mask if they are around social spaces where there's people around, they tend to smile, and then just to make people not to actually see. But when you actually go deeper into the person, then you actually find that person has a lot of internal, conflicts, a lot of internal
Yes.
dialogue, as you did
Yes.
mention. There's a lot of things going on. But when they are outside with two people, because of the space, the surrounding, the environment, even the kind of people that they are surrounding themselves, they are not able, to actually talk about whatever issue that they might be having at the time, whether it's depression, whether it's suicidal thoughts, whether it's
Yes.
substance abuse, whatever the case may be. So this also brings me to one of the most common ones, Mr. Makhathini, is the stigma attached to mental health.
Yes.
There's a lot of, you'd find that there's a lot of stigma attached to mental health, in the sense that people will not want to associate with you once they find out that you actually have a mental health problem.
Yes.
Oh, this person has a PTSD. Some don't even know what even what is a PTSD because of these words. Oh, you've got OCD. Oh, you've got this. You've got this. So.
Yes.
It creates the stigma as well, as if you are suffering or going through some period in your life, there's actually something wrong with you. So can we just maybe touch on the stigma, and also as to how can we then help our society, to correct the stigma that they might have regarding mental health, as we are talking today.
Yeah, when we have touched on quite a prominent one, the stigma, because most of the things that make people don't want to come out or don't want to seek help is because of the stigma. And I am seeing this thing a lot in most of people that are working. You'll find people that are working in the good environment. You find lawyers, you find different people like that are holding big positions, CEOs, and all of those kind of people, and you find that are suffering mentally with the internal dialogue that they cannot able to disclose to anyone because of the stigma that how people are going to see me while now I went to a mental health institution. I've went to a mental health wellness center or a mental health hospital. When I'm coming back, my confidence will be gone, because people will be saying that, oh, this one is coming from a special Saint Land. That what
definitely yes.
Exactly that what is in the mind of people, and forgetting even those people that are saying that they're also going through some issues in their lives, and which is also bring the unstableness in their mental health. It's just that sometimes we like to push other people or to speak with other situations of other people, and while ours we are sitting on them. Then that is the kind of thing that is a problem. But what breaks the stigma? It is awareness. How many organizations that you can run to? I'm talking about the NGOs, because it's not that the mental health institutions are not there. They are there. But the thing is that some of them you need to pay. For example, we have a lot of therapists, but you need to pay for the therapist. We have psychologists, we have psychiatrists, but you need to pay for consultation and all of those kind of things like that. But in terms of NGOs that we have that are supporting people, how many do you know? Because even the prominent ones such as SADC and all of the other one, they deal with alcoholism, also they are full. You find that when you refer people there, they're going to book, and then maybe it's going to take them a month to be to get help and all things like that. Then that means that it shows that mental health, we have not taken it seriously as a pandemic on its own, so that we can able to bring the full awareness to people or to the community, so that the community now, when we talk about mental health, it will not be a bizarre term. For example, remember the time HIV started, you know, where most of people, the stigma that was on HIV, it was unexplainable, you know, because once a person said that it's HIV, then people will be associating that this person was not handling himself well, or all of things that are like that, you know. But due that they mobilized the community in TV. There were shows on TV, there were shows on radio stations, there were shows in every platform where people, if you open your radio station, then someone was talking about HIV. Every day was talking about HIV. When you open television, they were talking about HIV. That's why it ended up the stigma dissolved, and seeing that no, anyone, even a person that is living a good life, can still have HIV. You know, a person that is handling himself with good intentions or whatever, then can still have HIV. But now I think it's still the same thing that we still need to do, is to teach our community about this, about mental health. Because if we're not teaching our community about mental health, therefore who's going to teach them? Then mostly in the Black community, you know. Then after that, people, they will start to speak up, and then people will start to seek people that they can talk to, that they can see that this person can keep my issues, or I'm having a confidence to this person, and then we'll able to dissolve the stigma that we are facing at the moment.
Yes. Definitely, Mr. Makhathini. So because it is quite a big issue, as you just mentioned just now, especially within our Black community. Yes. You know, because as I mentioned before, we even have our way of our we even created our own defensive coping mechanisms, which are not good coping mechanisms, but because we are being defensive of the fact that no, I don't have a mental issue, a mental problem. I don't have any disorder. I'm not suffering from anything. Those things are for the Western countries, you know. So as you mentioned now, it is important as well to to bring an awareness, as I mentioned from the beginning of the show, that as much as it is a good thing to take care of your financial health, as much as it is good to take care of your physical health, also as well your mental well-being should not be something that is being left on the side, because it actually affects almost everything, because even sometimes you may have financial issues, but you only find that even those financial issues that you might be having, they were actually caused by the roots, were actually caused by a mental problem that you haven't dealt with at the time. Just to make an example. So it's important as well, just to note as well to the audience that we as a nation, we still have a lot of job to do. As South Africa, we still have a lot of job to do in terms of making sure that now we educate, we bring an awareness, as well as we also create a safer space, for people to be freely when it comes to mental health,
That's very true. That's very true. We really need a safe space for people to talk to, also, again, as I've said it before, the friends that you have also, they play a huge role in helping you to strive on your mental health. Therefore, you must have different friends groups that you have on your friend group that you have. You must make sure that they are people that you really trust, that you can go to these people and tell these people that this is my issue, I'm facing 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, then as you have already mentioned that in terms of when it comes to financial crisis, moreover, when you look at South Africa, we are in the crisis when it comes to everything's expensive, people are not working, people are unemployed. You know, it's too much. You know, it's too much. Mostly if you're a man and then the family is expecting you to provide and all of those kind of things, then it contributes a lot to your mental health. And also in terms of when it comes to if you are providing at home, it's either you're a man or you are a female. Sometimes you end up seeing that, you know what, now everything is upon your shoulders. You can't, everyone in the family is looking at you. You know, those are the issues that also, again, that we are facing. And I don't know the solution for that, but because it's most of the people, most of the youth or people that are that now they are working, then they are facing those kind of problems, which is they can be quite of a hectic. Therefore, if you are working, then book a session with a therapist and talk to someone that is professional. Talk to a psychologist that is professional to give you some also ideas and also how you can come out of those kind of situations.
Absolutely. So this brings us to towards the end of our show today. As we are having Dr. Makhathini, who has blessed us with his presence on the show, whom we really appreciate. And the topic today that we are unpacking or we are introducing on the show today is the influence of the past on present behavior, as we were just laying a background as to giving a better understanding as to what is actually a mental health before we even go any further. With that being said, this brings the show to the end for now. And just to, I would like to leave you with this, just to know, before I also give Dr. Makhathini just a chance to also give us his closing comments on the show before we wrap up the show for today. So it just three things just to also note as we are talking about the influence of the past on present behavior, looking at mental health today on the show. So you need to understand that it's okay not to be okay sometimes, because before I become a psychologist, or before you become a neuroscientist, before you become a lawyer, before you become a doctor, before you become a teacher, whatever profession, whatever business that you are in, you must remember that before any of that, you are human first. So being human also carries that element that, you know, you will have daily life experiences. Sometimes might be good, some of them might not be best. Some of them may make you cry, some of them may make you laugh. So now it's very crucial to understand, now it's okay not to be okay sometimes, but it's not okay to stay that way. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that now you need to identify the root cause, to say, now I'm not okay. I'm feeling at this particular moment, I'm feeling like this, I'm going through this. But now, why am I actually feeling this way? So you need to identify why and what is making you feel this way. Then in that case, you will be able to take action. As Dr. Makhathini has mentioned, that there are institutions, there is help out there, as well as creating a safer environment for someone to actually come out and voice out when they are not okay. So those are my last comments. Dr. Makhathini, just your last comments before we wrap up our show today.
Yeah, I think we have just concluded everything, Thabiso. One of my, I can say my last comment, yes, when you're not okay, it's fine, but do not stay in that zone of not being okay, because when you are staying in that zone, what you create pathways in your brain. And then these pathways, once they are established, that means they will influence your chemical release of the chemical release in your brain. And those chemicals, once they are released, therefore, it's starting like they are cementing these pathways. Then now you're becoming like a moody person that is well known that, oh, that so-and-so is very moody. Therefore, it's always important to talk about something. Try by all means that even before you sleep, you do something, you talk to your friend. We have those kind of friends that you just take a call, and then if you are angry, then you'll be, releasing all the anger, talking to that friend. And I believe everyone must have those kind of friend. And I have those kind of friend where things, it's not that even me as a neuroscientist that I mastered the mental health. No, there are moments where I crumbled, but there's a lot of things. For example, going to the gym or exercising or running or doing all of those kind of things, it helps a lot. When you come back with a lot of solution in your mind. Therefore, don't just sit there and think that there's someone that is going to come and pick you up, because at the end of the day, you are the one that is carrying that load. Again, you are the one that you're going to offload that load. It's very important to find someone to talk to. Also, do certain activity that is going to distract from all the thinking, processing that you are going through. Then when you come after that activity, then you will see how fresh you will be. And then after that, you face again life. Life, it's have challenges. We can't run away from challenges. I think if life had no challenges, I think it will be boring. But challenges also are a ship that direct us to our destination.
Yeah, you heard it yourself. That was Dr. Makhathini, whom we had on the show. So this brings us to the end of our today's show. Make sure to tune in on the next episode of the Empowerment podcast. So I'll see you on the following show. Cheers to all our audience.
Thank you, Thabiso, and to the Empowerment Podcast for having me and giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for also always gracing us, Dr. Makhathini, with your presence. You are a blessing to the whole of Empowerment Podcast as well, and also to our audience at large.
Thanks.
Empowerment Podcast. Inspire, equip, and empower.